When someone is living with HIV, they can face many hurdles in life. In tonight's Wear the Gown, Eyewitness News reporter Jeremy Baker introduces us to a program within the university health system for those living with HIV to help them break down some barriers.
Tanya Mendez is an assistant director within the university health system who works with a local chapter of SPINS, Special Projects of National Significance. In San Antonio, it is called CASE.
The program is to work specifically with individuals living with HIV to help them connect with housing and employment services so that their health outcomes are better.
She works alongside Daniel Pineda, the CASE program director.
With our clients, many do carry many barriers, but also they're fighters and they are able to get through it.
Some of those barriers could include getting on medication, having enough money for basic necessities like food and shelter, holding a full-time, well-paying job to earn that money, and taking care of their overall health with a goal of becoming virally suppressed to help stop the spread of the disease and end the epidemic.
We found that when individuals have access to housing and employment, their health care is typically improved.
It's a struggle, and the team will hustle out there trying to find resources for the client to have a safe place to live.
When the CASE program began, they started with 5 main partners: the San Antonio AIDS Foundation, Beat AIDS, CentroMed, University Health System's Fax Clinic, and Metro Health. But since then, the program has grown and is a collaboration between many more agencies giving their assistance.
We began partnerships with Goodwill, with the Food Bank, with Saha, and many other organizations.
We're just here to support them and guide them along and be a part of their lives.
Jeremy Baker, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
And for more information about family health, call 210-358-3045. You can also find the rest of the Wear the Gown stories. Just go to wearthegown.com.